next rage.
This is Eyewitness News, the news leader, with Phil Lipoff and Michelle Charlesworth, Jessica Taft with sports, and Jeff Smith with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Now, Eyewitness News, Sunday morning.
Dozens of people are displaced this morning after a big mess in the West Village. A water main break, forced evacuations, and street closures.
And the race for president goes on this holiday weekend, stretching from Texas to Puerto Rico.
And part of that team that created the 60s show, Laugh-In, has died, remembering Dick Martin this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let's take a live look outside. Look at this beautiful shot, the Brooklyn Bridge there. Happy birthday to the Brooklyn Bridge, 125 years old. And a gorgeous crystal clear sky along with crystal clear water beneath. It's just that kind of weekend. Thanks so much for being with us, everyone. Good to have you here. I'm Phil Lipoff.
I'm Michelle Charlesworth. Also good to know, I think I remember reading the Roeblings built the Brooklyn Bridge 125 years ago, 15 times as strong as it needed to be, because they didn't know it was the first suspension bridge.
Well, you know what? With bridges, better to be stronger.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yes, exactly. Right. Meteorologist Jeff Smith joins us now from Farmingdale, Long Island. I'm waiting for him to be suspended from a helicopter at some point, Jeff.
Well, you guys, I don't want to hear any complaints about the forecast right now because I'm in a very powerful position. It's the bombardier spot on the B-17 bomber. This is literally the flying fortress of World War II, one of the biggest planes to fly and fight over in Europe during the war. And you can actually fly this. We're at the American Air Power Museum. You can take a ride on this bomber during the day today. A lot of these planes are also going to be flying into the Jones Beach Air Show, along with the Blue Angels as well. Perfect flying weather out there today. Let's check out that forecast. Starting with AccuTrack right now, temperatures are generally in the upper 50s to around the 60-degree mark, and they'll be rising during the day well into the 70s. You can see your average high this time of year, if we head over to our almanac, is 74. Look at the sunset time, 8:15 p.m., so a nice long day out there. Here's your AccuPlanner for today. We're up to 72 by noontime. Temperatures in the middle and upper 70s by 4 o'clock. A light and variable wind, and you can see some of the great World War II planes around here. We're going to be touring this flying fortress, again, the B-17 bomber. Coming up in my full AccuWeather forecast in about 10 minutes. Guys, back over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff.
All right. Topping our news, this 9 o'clock hour, a huge water main break drenches part of the West Village, shutting down streets and businesses, forcing so many to evacuate. Eyewitness News reporter Talia Patillo has been in the West Village all morning, watching them try to repair this massive hole. Talia.
That's right, Phil. We spoke to the DEP's deputy commissioner moments ago, and he says that this main burst simply because it's old, 100 years old to be exact. Take a look right now at the hole in the middle of the street. Crews are expanding that hole. They've brought in heavy equipment. This is all where the burst took place, and this is all happening after dozens of people and restaurants were evacuated.
People in the West Village did their best to stay dry overnight, using plastic bags to shuffle through the flooded streets. A water main break at West 10th Street sent water pouring into apartment buildings and residents running out. Even man's best friend couldn't escape the water. Firefighters helped people out of buildings and quickly brought in pumps to try and stop the damage to buildings.
Apparently all the basements over here are flooded.
Steve Sertel owns the Riviera Cafe on West 4th Street and says the water main break is sure to hurt businesses like his in this area.
I think the prognosis for the restaurants in the immediate area here isn't good for the next day or two.
My husband's trying to call friends, relatives, and neighbors, or hotels. At this point, we really don't know what we're doing.
Lindsay Chester is visiting with her family from North Carolina. She subletted an apartment just down the street from the water main break for 5 days.
We hadn't anticipated this much adventure.
People gathered up their belongings, unsure of when the water would stop spouting out of the main and into their buildings. Lindsay Chester says it looks like the end of their family vacation.
We just packed up everything. That's why we got all the suitcases, because we're not sure if we're going to be let back in the building.
The commotion proved to be too much for one man who was taken to a local hospital. But for the most part, people just looked on as crews tried to pinpoint a spot where they could cut off the water. More than 100 people were forced out in the middle of the night by the leak. But as Steve Sertel says,
what can you do? It's New York.
The affected buildings are on West 10th Street between Hudson and 7th Avenue South. The buildings department has done an assessment and has determined that these buildings are safe, and many residents have returned home. This while the deputy commissioner expects this cleanup to be complete by late tonight. Live from the West Village, Talia Patillo, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
All right, Talia, thank you. One man is under arrest this morning following a slashing in Central Park as a young boy saw the whole thing. It happened inside the park last night near 72nd Street in Central Park West. The victim, a man, apparently bumped into a family along a pathway when witnesses say the husband in that family took out a box cutter and started slashing right in front of his wife and young son. The victim suffered several large gashes but is expected to recover. The suspect, the father in this case, is charged with assault.
Phil, a street shooting in Queens leaves one person in critical condition this morning, 4 others injured. The gunfire had people running for their lives yesterday on Roosevelt Avenue in Jackson Heights. Investigators believe one person was the intended target. The other 4 victims, just innocent bystanders. Detectives say the shooting is gang-related and that because of that, few eyewitnesses are talking for fear of retaliation. Several tornadoes tore through the rural Midwest this weekend. One of the twisters in northwest Oklahoma destroyed a hog farm and a trailer was blown onto the highway. Fortunately, no people were injured. In Kansas, a local news crew actually followed a twister in action. More than a dozen tornadoes struck the western part of the state. 2 people were killed in that one.
To presidential politics, several prominent Republicans are among the visitors to Senator John McCain's ranch this weekend, prompting some speculation that they might be on his short list for the VP spot. They include Florida Governor Charlie Crist, Louisiana's Governor Bobby Jindal, who, by the way, is just 36 years old. But McCain denies there's anything political going on.
Just having a group of friends for Memorial Day weekend to visit us and enjoy one of the most beautiful